see your war face.
Sir!
You got a war face? Ah! That's a war face. Now let me see your war face.
Ah!
You didn't convince me. Let me see your real war face.
Ah!
You don't scare me. Work on it.
Sir, yes, sir!
We are seeing the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, coming out and essentially changing everything. And that includes the Department of Defense. Now, it has been told here that President Donald Trump plans to sign an executive order Friday to rebrand the Department of Defense as Department of War, his latest effort to project an image of toughness for America's military. Now, it should be noted that in order to do this, this is not a unilateral thing that can be done. You guys know this whole rigmarole. Congress has to say yes. There's votes. There's all of the things that do the checks and balances of anything military. What's interesting is we're seeing that this was leaked by someone of anonymous source that is in the White House. Can anyone be quiet? What about OPSEC, dude? Right? I know you guys are going to leave those in the comments because who we're talking about, but this is no surprise as we've seen Pete Hegseth essentially try and look at the lethality of the military.
Our founders are brilliant in this process of advising consent. It's been edifying and a wonderful process to go through and meet with senators and talk to them, especially members of the Senate Armed Services Committee, whose passion is the Defense Department, and our warfighters, to hear what they want to do to make sure that department is properly oriented for the threats of the world and make sure that we're putting the warfighters first. That's what Donald Trump asked me to do. Your job is to bring a warfighting ethos back to the Pentagon. Your job is to make sure that it's lethality, lethality, lethality. Everything else is gone. Everything else that distracts from that shouldn't be happening. That's the message I'm hearing from senators in that advise and consent process. It's been a wonderful process.
Looking at fitness standards, looking at anything possible, and we're going to get to that too because his new selection as the Chief of Naval Operations has essentially kind of said similar things as what they're looking to do. But I do want to add one thing, and people are going to say this is just a name change. But let's go back at history for 1 second. The Department of War was created in 1789, the same year that the U.S. Constitution took effect. It was renamed by law in 1947, 2 years after the end of World War II. Let's kind of put some context on here. A lot of people obviously knew America had involvement in World War II in order to make sure we had people prosper, peace, love, and happiness.
Kumbaya, my lord, kumbaya.
But if you guys are not paying attention to what's going on, you know, it is late 2025 as I'm making this video, or the later half. So what does that mean if you guys were looking at context clues of 2027? I am just speculating. I'm going to put that out there, but I think it is a shift to show the seriousness to not only America, but to the rest of the world about this. I think that is the posturing, whether it just be optics, whether it just be that, it shows that we are shifting in culture away from that. People are expecting sweeping change when there's been no response necessarily to be drastic, to be like changing everything in the Department of Defense. But it does look like the Chief of Naval Operations, the new one, has come in. He is a submarine guy and has said his new things that he's looking for. So he says on this document, he says, the lifeblood of our Navy is a sailor, well-trained, connected, supported, and fit to fight. In every ocean around the world, our national security interests are challenged by increasingly complex threats underpinned by our warrior ethos. We will rise to that challenge. For 250 years, we have been in world-class fighting Navy, and our strength lies in our sailors. Our teamwork and the spirit to core and are strengthened by our core values and devotion to our mission. Next one, he says, we must resource the Navy our nation's needs. I'm committed to the well-being of our sailors and their families, providing them with state-of-the-art platforms, world-class facilities, and dependable support through our Total Sailor and Family Action Plan. We will leverage the insights and lessons learned from the past to improve and rebrand our culture of excellence initiative to its new focus, Total Sailor Fit to Fight. You guys see that fit to fight? Looks like they're changing a lot of things, and we don't really have anything specific on that, but we've been hearing rumblings of going back to 2 fitness tests a year or making it the Marine Corps fitness test or whatever else. I'd love to see how that gets rolled out over the next couple of years. And if you're expecting people to be fit and work out with crazy schedules, there is that. But there are more promises here. He says, today I've directed your naval leadership to take the steps necessary to ensure that no sailor will live afloat. We will invest in unaccompanied and family housing in addition to optimizing our new BH authority to ensure every sailor resides in housing that is clean, comfortable, and safe. Yeah, Army. Yeah, Marine Corps. You guys are like, the Navy has nothing to worry about. They're the most cake branch in the entire service. Yeah, you try and live on a ship. Any Marine that's been on a ship or a MEU, they can't handle it. They don't want to be on the ship, right? Living in a coffin rack, having 1MC announcements, having to eat ship food, having bad service, whatever else. It's living in an industrial area, which, by the way, exposure, toxins, whatever else that could come from that as well would be quite interesting. You know, I understand the culture, the heritage, but I think modern day we can afford to have people living in their actual room, feeling like they have an actual space. During my term, we will transform our galley facilities to ensure they are designed to meet the nutritional needs and choices of our sailors' modern-day lifestyle. It is paramount that we modernize food service to deliver healthy and flexible options. Thank you. Because the Army just recently did this where it's like you pick up, you go, and that's it. So I was like, why can't the Navy do that? Where I'm like, there are more barriers probably to ensuring ships run and maintenance periods and all these other things that like they need flexible options more than anything. But this is not like mid-rats where someone's getting the bottom of the barrel stuff at like, 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. at night, I mean. And by the way, can we just say that we're having a CNO, which is an officer focusing on sailors, which is a little bit different than what I've seen. Typically, we're talking about the mission and what that is necessarily, not like quality of life sailor stuff, where we typically have seen that from the last Master Chief Petty Officer of the Navy, which talked about that in depth. Effective immediately, the Secretary of the Navy has directed we convene a focused assessment of your uniform and sea bag. We will streamline uniform requirements to ensure you have affordable, available, and durable service clothing that you are proud to wear. The goal will be to reduce the number of uniforms while respecting our hard-earned traditions that make our Navy so special. Yeah, we've been hearing the rumor mill here a little bit where they've talked about going only to one dress uniform, right, instead of the Cracker Jack whites and blues, which we've historically had that before as well. But can we get, for the love of God, can we please get rid of the bad quality service uniform? The pants are like sandpaper. They just get blown out and faded. They look like trash, in my opinion, when you've worn them more than a couple times. Just going to put that out there. You have grown up in a digitally connected world where disconnection means isolation. Therefore, I have mandated efforts to improve cell service on our installations and bring free Wi-Fi to all of our barracks. Golf clap. Golf clap. Do I think you're going to be streaming your Call of Duty on Twitch on this? Probably not, because we know that that would be overselling. But I would say versus having Go Wi-Fi or whatever contract company out there, it looks like it's almost like we've realized this is replacing what phones used to be in the barracks maybe. Like the Wi-Fi has to be something. And the cost to upkeep that is probably going to be some egregious government contract amount. But I would say, let's hope, let's be optimistic that they'll actually take care of it and it'll be maintained, and that is an option. That's all I'll say. I've also ordered changes to the nav admin process, ensuring our sailors are able to find clear and correct information in one singular location. We will not use nav admins to work around effort required to properly change the base instructions any longer. Thank you. I appreciate it. Because my God, it felt like every time you looked up an instruction, you would find out that the instruction was outdated by a nav admin that was released, and essentially it was just like, well, did you check the nav admin? And I was like, oh my God, we're playing whack-a-mole here. So at least people know the problem. They're trying to fix it. I like that. It's going to be a lot of administrative work, but maybe if that's the case, it will lower some of the bureaucracy as well. So yeah, we're seeing a lot of name changes. We're seeing a lot of changes in the service as well. Is there something that you think is not being addressed right now? And if so, leave that down in the comments below, because that is where the discussion continues, and I know these people read them. So let me know.